we'll start having lots of plastic pile-ups and everywhere, and we'll start polluting our planet a lot more, which means the planet will eventually die, and lots of animals will start dying, and animals that we eat can start dying, so we won't be able to get enough food.
Sustainability means, like, I don't really know what it means. I think of like the environment when I hear that.
I think sustainability means to keep the environment safe and to make sure we don't pollute the air.
Like tell everyone not to use plastic or use plastic bottles, but when the water is done, you can reuse it again.
And finding new ways to clean water and finding new ways to keep animals safe, and how we need to start being more careful about how much plastic we use.
You know, maybe we could put some signs around, or maybe just ban plastic bottles in shops, or maybe even make it a crime.
I would like to use reusable water bottles a lot more, and instead of getting plastic bags when I go to supermarkets, I would get reusable bags.
Good, because they have petals and it's better so we don't touch and give germs to other people.
I love using reusable bottles because they save your money, because actually you don't need to keep buying plastic bottles, and at the same time they're better for the environment because you don't toss them everywhere. Pushing the pedals, it actually makes me feel like I'm driving a car. I really like reusable bottles, especially the metal ones, because if you have water and you've put it by your bedside table, or you're using it for your class, then it keeps it cold throughout the whole day, and it always, instead of plastic ones, you can reuse it and reuse it. You just have to simply wash it. I really like how the foot pedals, because I can feel that I'm safe and I'm not going to catch anything, because I can use them, and they're also very fun to use. And I love how it gives you cold water, because sometimes it doesn't in our previous water bottles, and so I always like after a PE lesson to have cold water.
I think it's good because we don't need to buy more plastic bottles, and we can reuse this all the time.
So I think the government, but then also everyone can. But then I think parents are also responsible partially, because they need to teach their children how to recycle. I think everyone's responsible for it. It excites me because I feel like I'm participating in this and I can make a change in the world.
Good morning, thank you very much for having me today. I'm Tatiana, the founder and managing director of Goumbook. It's a social enterprise that was launched back in 2009. We raise awareness about sustainability here in the UAE and beyond in the region.
Hi everyone, my name is Sandy Muirhead. I'm a director at No More Bottles based in the UAE. No More Bottles has been going for 4 years now, and our main drive is to raise awareness around sustainability, and most importantly to provide the residents of the UAE with fresh, filtered, purified water direct at the point of use.
So back in 2016 we launched a campaign called Drop It, Drop the Habit of Using Single-Use Plastics, and specifically plastic bottled water. The campaign was very successful. We're asking everyone to remove plastic bottles from their homes, from their offices, in order to drink tap water. But today we're going to go through this presentation that will show facts and figures about the harmful effects of plastic pollution on the environment and on our health. So over the past 50 years, global plastics production has increased from 15 million tons in 1964 to 311 million tons back in 2014. At the moment, we don't have real numbers of what is going on in 2021. So when we talk about single-use plastics, nearly 2 million plastic bags are distributed worldwide every minute, and this is just about plastic bags. To give it a more regional or local perspective, in the UAE alone, in 2006, we were actually using 39,000 tons of plastics, and in 2008, 47,300 tons, for a total of 13 billion plastic bags annually. Looking at Abu Dhabi, just in 2007, it was 1,870,000 kilograms of plastic bags. These figures were shared by the Environment Agency in Abu Dhabi. So just to give you a figure that can help really understand how this is massive and how quick it goes, just figure a truck filled with single-use plastic being thrown into the ocean every minute. And some people might think, well, what's the problem? Well, the problem is that this plastic doesn't decompose. It doesn't go away. It stays forever. I mean, from a scientific point of view, they say it could be 400 years, 1,000 years, 700 years, but nobody knows. And we won't know. Our grandchildren won't know. This is something that we still don't have any idea on how long it's going to take. But definitely, they are here to stay. I'm going to show you now a couple of videos. The first one has been produced by our partners in the United States, Plastic Pollution Coalition, to give you an idea of plastics around the world and the effects of plastics.
Open your eyes. When did we become a plastic society? We got plastic bags, plastic water bottles, plastic straws, plastic cups, plastic wrap, plastic utensils, and plastic to-go containers. Plastic is a substance the earth cannot digest, and every bit of plastic that has ever been created still exists. Every day in the United States, we throw out almost 88,000 tons of plastic. Now, what happens to plastic after you use it? Well, most of it goes into landfills. A portion gets into the water course and eventually ends up in the oceans. Recycling is not a sustainable solution. It's actually called downcycling because plastic never goes away. Consumption of disposable plastics has spiraled out of control. What is the number one thing plastic is made out of? Well, every year we use 17 million barrels of oil to make plastic water bottles. This is enough to fuel 1 million cars every year. Plastic pieces on the ocean's surface now outnumber sea life 6-to-1. Plastic makes up almost 90% of all trash floating on the ocean's surface, 46,000 pieces of plastic per square mile. What effect does plastic have on human health? Plastic chemicals, like BPA, are absorbed by the body. Studies show that they alter hormones and disrupt the endocrine system. By refusing disposable plastic, you can improve the health of the ocean and the environment around us, including human health and animal health.
This second video is more of a scientific approach on what plastic does, of course, to the environment, but to our bodies, to our health. And it will definitely show how plastics break into microparticles in the ocean.
There's a dead bird over there.
This is an average amount of plastic in this chick.
What's happening on Midway is like the canary in the coal mine. That patch of garbage in the Pacific is growing, and right now it's having a huge impact on the species that call Midway home.
Plastics will play as large a role in peace as they do in war.
Every day, we add estrogen-like chemicals to our body through plastics.
It's like we're all in the midst of a giant, uncontrolled experiment.
Without your permission, you are being polluted. Is that okay with you?
So are we okay with us being an experiment? I don't think so. And this is the time for all of us to react and take action. Now in this video, specifically the second one, you've seen how plastics break down and become microplastics. The problem with microplastics is that they become very, very tiny, sometimes invisible to our eyes, but they become part of the food chain in the ocean. And there are videos through research done in universities of plankton consuming plastic. And the problem is that then this plankton is consumed by whales, by other fish, and definitely it becomes part of the marine environment food chain, but then also our own food chain. We end up eating fish that has consumed microplastics. Just to give you another example of how microplastic have definitely entered the food chain is that through another research, 90% of table salt that has been analyzed, 90% of it has microplastics in it. Just figure out you putting salt on your salad, on your meat, on your fish, and you are actually putting microplastics on your food. Another research says that every meal we eat could contain, on an average, more than 100 microplastic particles. And this was, back in 2020, announced as part of another scientific research led in Japan, saying that we are consuming on a weekly basis the same amount of a credit card. So just imagine yourself holding a credit card and eating one every Sunday because it's good for you. This is what we're doing right now everywhere around the world. Another figure that is quite shocking, and specifically when we go into schools and we meet with children and we share this data with them, is that 50% of the camels here in the UAE that die because of plastic consumption. So in the media for the past 5 years, we've seen a lot of talks about plastic consumption in the ocean and how this is affecting the marine environment in a horrible way. Turtles, dolphins, whales. But let's not forget life on land and what happens to the camels, but also back in other continents and other countries, on how this affects, for example, agriculture. Here in the UAE, 50% of camels die because of plastic consumption, but this is something that we can relate in agriculture with cattle, cows, sheep, goats, all animals that at the end of the day consume plastic and die, and this has a huge consequences for the farmers who lose their animals, and so it also has financial consequences. So yes, we're talking about animals and how this is affecting them, but then also let's look at how it's affecting us humans. Another study led by a university in Japan and conducted in 7 different countries in Europe showed that actually microparticles were found in our feces. And this means that microparticles are ingested, go through our digestive system, go through our guts, that actually are the basic of the health and our well-being. So definitely through all these different researches, we are able to see how plastic is not only an environmental problem, but also a health and well-being problem affecting everyone, everywhere in the world. What is the one thing that we can actually act upon immediately? Well, it's bottled water. We can see all around us, specifically here in the UAE, that we consume bottled water on a daily basis. When we go to the gym, when we go to school, when we go to the office, when we go out and have lunch and dinner, we are always offered with a plastic bottled water. So this is somehow very, very negative. From an environmental point of view, we are consuming on an average 450 bottles per person per year. This might not really resonate as a number, but if you think about the whole population of the UAE, we reach a final number of over 4.5 billion plastic bottles in the UAE alone. The big problem is that this plastic here is not recycled. Only 4, maybe 6% of this plastic is recycled. Everything else either ends up in a landfill or in the wild, meaning the ocean or the desert. What is the first thing we can do? Well, removing this plastic bottled water and drinking tap water. Yes, tap water, because tap water here in the UAE is very, very good quality water. And you won't maybe not expect it, but it has a better quality than many countries, for example, in Europe. A lot of people don't know, for example, that all the local waters are actually tap water. I invite you, if you have a plastic bottle of water with you, just look at the label and you will see that it mentions pure drinking water. That means that it's desalinated water that has been filtered, has been cleaned, and has been remineralized with different minerals depending on which brand, and put in a nice plastic bottle. But you're actually drinking the same water that comes through your tap. The difference is that actually you are consuming more plastic rather than water. Another problem is that it's been shown in different studies that 99% of bottled water already contains microparticles from the manufacturing process. When you extrude a plastic bottle, microplastics are actually formed in the bottle, and when you put water in them, already the water is contaminated just with microplastics. But on a long term, these bottles are actually stored in warehouses, in storages, at different temperatures. And this is where there's another problem, is the leakage of chemicals. Due to the difference of temperatures, the plastics expand and release different chemicals such as BPA or the replacement of BPA, dioxin, and other chemicals such as flame retardants. There's a long list, and it's better not to look into it because it's quite scary. But this is just to understand that a lot of chemicals end up in the water. Our bodies are made to resist these chemicals, so it doesn't matter if once in a while we are going camping or we're grabbing a bottle of water and we're drinking. It's fine. The problem is that we're drinking this water 24/7 and we don't have any other source of water. And this is where we're contaminating our body, and the risk is that we reach levels of contamination that become harmful to our well-being. So switching away from bottled water is good for everyone. It's good because we end up, saving the environment, we reduce carbon emissions, we save water, we save money, because at the end of the day, to install a filtration system is much cheaper than what we would spend on bottled water. And it reduces the toxic chemicals in our bodies. Saving water, maybe this is something that people are not much aware, but when we consume and drink water from, let's say, a liter bottled water, to produce that bottle, we need 3 times the amount of water it's inside that bottle. So just to give you an idea, if I consume a liter of water in a plastic bottle, to produce that bottle, I would have needed a liter of oil, of petrol, and 3 liters of water. But the problem is that that bottle, I'll use it maybe 5-10 minutes, and then I will throw it away. And by throwing that away, I'm throwing away precious resources such as water and oil. And this is really a crime, looking at the very scarcity of water we have here in the region and around the world. When we talk about CO2 emission, it's because here, to actually produce the water, we desalinize it. And the desalination process is very intense, in the sense that here, to produce water, we actually desalinate it, and we burn a lot of oil in the process, and we produce a lot of emissions just for the production of water that is used for the manufacturing of plastics. So once you understand the harmful effects of plastics in our environment, you don't look only at your bottle of water, but you look all around, and it's about the cutlery, it's about the containers of the food, it's about the takeaway when we ask for food away, it's about the straw, it's about the carrier bags. You will realize that plastic is all around. Just enter an aisle in a supermarket and you'll understand how everything we purchase is actually consumed and wrapped and contained in plastic. And this is where we need to make a difference. So there's a beautiful quote from His Highness Sheikh Zayed Al Nahyan that says, "On land and in the sea, our forefathers lived and survived in this environment. They were able to do so because they recognized the need to conserve it, to take from it only what they needed to live, and to preserve it for succeeding generations." So this is really the message we have for everyone here today is to think about the future of our children, of our grandchildren. What is the legacy that we're leaving to them? What is the environment that we leave behind? How are they going to survive if all the resources are polluted? This image for me is really, really strong. It's an artist that produced it back in 2015. It really shows that pollution is something that we don't see. Pollution is in the air and we don't see it. Pollution is on land, we don't see it. But specifically, everything that goes into the ocean, we don't see it. But doesn't mean that it's not there. We can make a difference. First of all, let's reduce the consumption, and then let's try to recycle as much as possible. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much, Tatiana. That was some really frightening stats there. So, no more bottles. We all know, we're all aware of the dangers that are facing our future generations, but now is the time to act. At No More Bottles, we've been in the region for 4 years now, and a lot of our time has been spent on educating people about the benefits of drinking filtered tap water. We partner with the likes of Goumbook and Tatiana to help raise awareness. The demographics of this country, from a very young age, it's installed in people that it's safe to drink from a plastic bottle, when from what we've seen, that's not always the case. It's never the case. So what are we trying to do? We're a cause for good for the UAE. COVID recently has changed a lot of people's perception. Sustainability is always at the forefront. However, we also need to combine that with health and safety. We need to look after our environment, and we need to look after our people, our pupils, our staff, our teachers. So as you'll see in the slides, we're a distributor for Waterlogic, who's a global point, the leading global point of use water dispensers. They have presence in over 50 countries, and we are the distributor for them here in the UAE. It's fantastic working with Waterlogic. They're a very innovative company, and in response to COVID, they've made some fantastic steps to ensure that we can still deliver a solution for the users across the UAE. We operate in all sectors. People wake up in the morning needing a drink. So at No More Bottles, we're always looking to cater for all different sectors. Education, we're here today, is a huge sector for us to look after. However, we have clients in hospitality, F&B, corporate, medical, sports events, and also we work with a lot of the government entities out here as well. So wherever anyone is drinking water, we have a solution for them, whether that's still, sparkling, ambient, boiling, we have a solution for everyone. So yeah, not only are you taking my word for the quality of the dispensers, the children have let you hear what they think about it, but we also work with a variety of real blue chip companies across the UAE, the likes of Talabat, the likes of Gems, the likes of Kings, Citibank, Mashreq Bank. So you're working with a trusted provider. There's a reason these people work with us. We provide 24/7 support, and we'll make sure that you achieve your sustainability goals. Okay, so why is it that we have all these clients in these different sectors? What is it that is making them take the leap and remove plastic bottles from the place of work? As Tatiana touched on, there's so many benefits for your health and well-being, not being exposed to the microplastics that we are consuming on a daily basis. For a school, it's a great opportunity to save a lot of storage space. Looking at it from a COVID perspective, we're reducing the amount of delivery teams that are coming through the front door of your school. Let's think of the journey the water has had before it reaches the water dispenser in your school. The amount of touch points from the people that are putting water into the bottles, being loaded onto the truck, being delivered to the school, and then distributed within the school, saving your facilities team a lot of time and energy. We've introduced the hands-free technology is a huge offering. A very common breeding ground for germs is your traditional water dispenser. Children, we try our best to educate them to wash their hands after at various stages of the day. They're touching common areas, so this is a breeding ground for bacteria. Using the pedal solution, that eliminates that completely. We've got eco-friendly, all parts of our dispensers are highly certified, and they're all 100% recyclable. we have an endless supply. There's no need to worry about running out of water. We keep the children hydrated throughout the day of school, as well as the teachers. And at the end of the day, you're a business, we're here to save you money as well. Okay, so there's several benefits of healthy hydration. The last thing a teacher wants is children with a short attention span. Having access to filtrated water, keeping them hydrated, keeping their energy levels, well, maybe not so much the energy levels high in the classroom, but their attention levels, and keeping them flushing out these damaging toxins. There's so many health benefits for our little children. We pride ourselves in being innovative, but technology and education combined are so powerful, as we've seen throughout the generations. So what do we offer? We have hands-free dispensing, we have a 3-stage filtration system, we have our firewall purification, and we also have a biocoat protection in all our dispensers. So I'll just go through them each one. So hands-free dispensing, in light of COVID, we introduced, so there's foot pedal technology. No one has to touch any common areas, beat the button as we say, and you're just using the pedals. The children love it. It makes them feel like they're playing in an arcade game, they're driving a car, so there's a fun feature as well. The 3-stage filtration, as Tatiana touched on, the water in the UAE is of a very high quality. Where the breakdown occurs is the actual distribution to the point of use. So whether that's old piping or water tanks that aren't regularly maintained. So our 3-stage filtration will remove any sand, sediment, bacteria that may have entered into that ecosystem, and providing a very purified drop of water. The most exciting part for me is the firewall purification, the firewall technology. Every ounce of water that goes through our water dispensers is treated with a very high intense dose of UV protection. From the all the way up to the nozzle, all ounces of water before it reaches your glass are treated with Firewall. So Firewall, our patent technology, removes 99.99% of traces of human form of COVID-19. So you're really drinking a very safe, high quality purified water. Further to the benefits, we also use a technology called biocoat protection. So this is a silver antimicrobial protection that is on the outside of all of our dispensers. So not only is the Firewall looking at or purifying all the water inside, we also have additional safety features outside the dispensers, and this disrupts and damages the DNA of any bacteria that may be present on the outside of the water dispensers. This is used by companies such as Dyson, Motorola, and there was a recent study performed, and it showed that a water dispenser in a classroom environment, there was 96% less bacteria on the water dispenser that was treated with biocoat. So it's a huge advantage, and it provides your staff and pupils reassurance that what they are drinking from is a very safe product. So it's up to us to make this change happen. The children want it, the adults know. It's not going to cost you any more money. Over a short period of time, you will make a return on your investment. There's so many intangible benefits of using point of use water dispensers, and we're here to educate and make sure that you're using these water dispensers. The last thing we want to do is install water dispensers and disappear. We're here to support your children and the staff understand the benefits so that they enjoy and they take pride of using the water dispensers, and they feel like they're making a difference to the world. It's on us to act now. We know there's a problem. We know that we don't know the extent of the problem that's facing us, but there's small steps that all of us taking action now, we can reduce the impact for our future generations.